Okay,
Yep.
everyone. Um,
Hey.
hey, welcome
Everyone.
everyone. Oh, sorry, I have to turn on the Twitter Space mic as well. Welcome everyone. Happy to have you here. I'm pleased to be hosting the AMA today with two of my great guests, Budan and Haslam. If I pronounce you guys correctly,
It's fine.
it's fine. Am I pronouncing it correctly? What's your
It's
pronunciation?
Ruslan. Ruslan. Yes.
Yeah, Ruslan.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry. Those Eastern European names.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm happy to hosting today's AMA. It's part of our Web3 Summer Game Fest 2023. And yeah, with me today, with Budan and Ruslan, they represent two projects. I looked their white paper and I dive into the news about them. It's quite fascinating what they are building, and the philosophy behind it is definitely deep. I think. Yeah, we're gonna definitely touch on that. And today the topic is about the future of the gaming, which is a quite big, even huge topics. But the two guests we are hosting today, I think they can definitely be like well represented of. And also they can definitely say something like very interesting about this topic. So, shall we do some introduction first? Uh, are we
uh,
using the?
yeah.
Maybe
It's fine.
start-
It's fine. Yeah.
yeah,
So
maybe
I'll start here.
yeah.
So my background lies in UI UX in Web 2. I've been doing all kinds of designs since there was no term of UI UX, at least on a common grounds. It's been 12 years since I started. So now I'm already managing like different kind of teams and in different kind of aspects. But UI UX is my biggest passion. We have now 3D department, 2D artists. I'm myself is a big fan of video games. But yeah, web industry it took a toll on that, I would say. And video games have spent past 26 years. So my first games was Civilization.
Oh,
Yeah, so back in the day, it was like something that we definitely could have built in browser already. So yeah, big steps forward in blockchain since 2017. I was attracted there by the challenges that industry had in regard of design. So there was a lot of complexity there, unexplored horizons. People tended to, find solutions in very unexpected kind of a places. So
mm,
it was a struggle. The first projects that I've seen in the blockchain, they were pretty atrocious. So we tried to suggest how this could be done. So there was like a lot of UI elements, a lot of UX issues that needed, new kind of a point of view, I would say.
mm.
So because of that, I sticked for a while, and we've met with Bogdan at some point. Bogdan,
Yeah,
tell us your
I'll do.
story.
What's your background
Uh,
story? But yeah.
yeah, so originally I have engineering background with a strong emphasis on a games theory. So I got hooked by Ethereum also in 2017. And actually, I got hooked because I realized back in 2017 that it is a great environment for actually world building. So I can say that I'm designing and planning the concept of on-chain worlds. I would say 6 years already almost. Yeah. So I came in crypto in 2017, and I realized that at that time market was really pretty early for that kind of stuff, and the technology also because of scalability problems. And as I said, market was very immature, and those ICO hype that was actually the bubble. And I wanted to create something quite serious in a blockchain that really should make sense there. So I was planning and designing the concept of Ethereum. And in 2020, during the DeFi summer, when the bull market happened, it actually, if you remember, happened because of the DeFi. And the DeFi shown us that composability is actually a really big stuff, and it also gonna work quite well with on-chain games, not NFT games. I would say on-chain games. They are totally different. And I realized that it's about time to actually start. So yeah, we are building Mitrum almost 3 years. We made very big progress. We have three big public tests behind with a lot of behavioral data gathered, and now I'm glad to see that we got more and more builders and people from crypto that share our the common vision. Maybe you heard, guys, about the trend of autonomous worlds. Maybe you heard about the Latic, the MUD, such projects like Lutrams, Conquest, and the more about to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been even more than 3 years now. If we are we are to take into account the first like strategy sessions that we had in Bogdan's house, we kind of had like drawn and like discussed and how it can be done. What estimations do we have for it? We definitely could not imagine back in the day that it's going to be like a project that will last this long. That is this difficult to develop. We certainly have explored in ways that we could not initially even think of, because well, it's even the approach that we are now taking, that we are now saying that the game design goes first. It initially was not like that, and we thought that we have it all figured it out. So yeah, a lot of things changed since then.
Yeah. I think after reading your white paper and also like the philosophy behind it, you write a lot of blogs about it. I found quite fascinating. But we're gonna start from the very surface, like why you name your projects Ethereum. Like, is there anything related to like Ethereum, or what's the meaning behind it?
Yeah, I'll take it. So the idea to call it Mitrum was initially my idea. So actually, I forgot to mention that the worldwide history is my hobby, and Mitrum it refers to the cult of Mitra that existed in classical times, in classical era, in times of Roman Empire, in times of Achaemenid Empire. So Mitra is a god. I would say goddess. It is divinity of light, sun, and contracts. So, because Mitrum as a game, initially it is intended to be the game about the diplomacy, a game about political pacts and agreements. So, I decided that maybe we should take some deep name that actually, by it pronouncing, it refers a little bit to Ethereum, but still it relates somehow to pacts and agreements. And we found out that actually in history there was such divinity like Mitra, and as I said, Mitra is a goddess of contracts, is a goddess of covenants. So yeah, that's the brief story of where did the name come from.
Yeah, for everyone who are curious about this part, you can Google it. You can find it on Wikipedia. It's a real place. It's a temple, and it's also part of the Roman history.
There are actually real places. So Mitram is a temple of Mitra, and Mitram they were all over the world. The
nice.
most famous of Mitram is in London, but there was Mitrams in Rome, in all the Italy, in many other places where the Roman Empire existed in our past. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's quite fascinating. Like you have been thought it through about the naming part, and also the part I quite found like it's quite fascinating to me is that we know the gaming industry has changed dramatically in recent 20 years, right? Like because of the mobile gaming and also the massive gaming. Like people used to be only geek or gamers really want to game, but nowadays it's just like everyone starts playing the game. And the gaming industry has been shifted because, like the games becomes more addicted, and also sometimes the game itself can be just to make you satisfied. But I feel like from your white paper, it mentions something very deep and something that game. Uh, I mean, early days the games have this part, but nowadays I think they lose the sense of this. You said the strategy game focusing on politics and diplomacy, and it's more about the gamers' interaction. And you also believe in the power structure of the gamers. Could you talk about that? Like, why do you think you guys want to focus on this area, and also why do you think blockchain can actually empower a new kind of a gaming experience?
Okay, I
Yeah.
can take that, or you want
Yeah,
Ruslan?
yeah. Go ahead. It's like your area of expertise, I would say. So yeah.
So initially, the big dream of such project like Mitrium is that when I got into crypto, I realized that crypto, the blockchain itself, the smart contract environment, is the playground for the games theory. So like you can iterate things with a real value in, and you can all this. I mean, all this DeFi, all this stuff with the governance. I would also actually consider this a game, and it is the game of incentives. So for me, the idea was the big dream idea was that on-chain games could be actually great simulations of real-world processes. So for instance, like we have the politics and diplomacy in our real world. We have the states in the real world, right? We have laws off-chain. But what if we can make such environment and such incentives in the game, in the blockchain game for the players, that they can actually be incentivized to build same social support structures on chain? Like for instance, the Mitrium game is a strategy game. And in this kind of the game, you as a player, you're the ruler of your tribe, settlement, or however you can call it. And in this game to succeed, you need to choose wisely who are your friends and your enemies. And there is also the problem of trust. And to solve this problem of trust, you have to make on-chain pacts with other players. And those on-chain pacts, they are actually on-chain laws. So the game incentivizes by its gameplay, by its goals for players to actually simulate the real world processes, to actually iterate things that we cannot iterate that easy in traditional games. So briefly, that. Maybe you, Ruslan, want to add something.
Yeah. So there is like a discussion what we are representing right now. It is quite different to what we initially thought we will be. So like educational purposes right now is not on on the front line of what we are trying to bring to the audience. Initially, we thought that gamification of the blockchain would help a lot for people to figure it out. Right now, we see that a lot of people have figured it out while we've been in development, and everyone who's interested is already there. However, there is still an exploration of a different audiences that is happening. So what we have been thinking about is that our initial audience is going to be rather blockchain folk. We are now questioning that because traditional gamers are bringing a lot of different kind of ideas. They are playing a lot. They are playing sometimes better than the blockchain players. So it's kind of a surprise for us, and we are exploring in that direction because what we've been discussing a lot with the different teams that are also building autonomous worlds. What is it that's supposed to bring glory to the industry, to this kind of a niche kind of a thing? And it is drama. Everyone agrees that whenever drama happens, everyone gets interested in it, and everyone gets involved. When it's interesting, when it gets the attention, the bigger the drama is, the more attention it gets. So the traditional gamers are just, in our opinion now, brought more drama. Therefore, we did not expect it. We thought they're going to be like scared off by the constant transactions and all that stuff. And also the monetization that is there, it brings more attention to them. So right now we are thinking that maybe the direction that we initially thought would be way to go. Now we think that maybe we can change that direction and explore what else can we find outside of our initial kind of road, I would say. So yeah, there is that. Wanted to add it to what Bogdan said.
Yeah, I think you also touched on something that is kind of like a shift of the industry as well. As you mentioned, like before the Axie, I mean, after the hype of Axie Infinity, I think some of the industry members believes that the whole gaming industry will shift into the blockchain, and also the Web3 or the blockchain games or gamify was super hyped, and it's attracting a lot of gamers for sure. But nowadays, after we reaching the bear market, I feel like the hype was died out, and we are trying to rethink what we are building, and also taking the consideration of the broader audiences as well. So for sure, you mentioned about something like every games currently, every Web3 games are trying to figure it out, and you guys definitely are a pioneer of that as well. So I also want to talk about before I jump into the next question. I still want to remind every audience out there on Twitter, on YouTube, on Twitch. You can go to carv.io to find out. There's a live chat there. There's a live show, video show there. So if you want to see who I'm interviewing with, Buden and Ruslan, you can visit the carv.io to find more information there. And also, there's something quite special I want to give a shout out as well, is that Mithrium, they are having the tournament with 25k reward pool starting at the end of July. So there's more information in their Discord channel. So stay tuned, and also join their Discord channel to find out more information about it.
Yeah, shout out to Gnosis, who sponsored the initial prize pool. We managed to establish a good connections, and we've been launching tournaments after tournament and tests on Gnosis chain. So we kind of check what they have. Yes.
It's an Iron Age tournament, right? Iron Age first. How do you pronounce it? Like Iron Age first tournament?
Yeah, Iron Age 1 or Iron Age
Iron 1,
yeah. So this tournament is going to bring a complete rehaul of the design. We've been like showcasing the changes in our Discord and our Telegram. So there is a lot of different stuff that is can be seen through our social networks. There is also changes to the game design. There is also a lot of stuff. We actually been like in development for quite a while. We thought that some features that were supposed to be presented during the previous tournament, we decided to postpone them to have to have a bigger picture to show. And we'll see. It will definitely be a different experience from what we previously had, and we were pretty happy and excited with what we already had. So we hope it's going to be cool and nice for everyone to explore what we've built.
Yeah, for sure. And also, I have to announce that Nico has joined our show. Nico is from the Sky Lab team, and they are also developing an on-chain strategy and fun game. And they're focusing on the primitives quite a lot. I'm also gonna ask more information about that. But before that, Nico, are you able to speak now? Like, do you want to make a quick introduction of yourself? Hello, Nico. Apparently, we can't hear you. Yeah, maybe Nico need to change the settings or something. In the meantime, whenever you're ready, Nico, if you are fixing your mic, feel free to do that. And then just shout out to make a noise so that we know you already. But in the meantime, I'm gonna keep the question to Ethereum. Is that I think you guys would see the trend of the Web3 gaming is that we shifting from like talk about the blockchain and to something like we focus on more the broader audiences, right? Like to make the game easier for the gamers to play. But in terms of the game like development, is there anything changed like throughout these 3 years? Like before you focus more on the blockchain stuff, but now it may be changing to the like more Web2 friendly area. Is it like something you have been considered?
Um, at some points when we have like moments of despair, we kind of discussing it, but it never gets anywhere outside of our internal kind of a talks. So no, we are fully Web3. We are not considering any even remotely Web 2.5 kind of experiences that other games sometimes delivering. So we do believe in certain things that are just not compatible with Web 2 approach. We don't want to have control and over the players, over the assets, over the achievements that they have. We don't want that. We also want the monetization of the whatever players manage to achieve. Want to be secure for them. We don't want to put the pressure on those who have achieved something and is in constant fear of us launching an update mid-tournament that declines all the progress that the player managed to get. So yeah, we kind of not looking into Web 2 for in any serious matter. So there is a lot of complexity that we unfortunately have to deal with. There is a lot of things that we have to reinvent or try to make it appear like it's something familiar from Web 2, while inside it's entirely different thing. We have to put it in disguise, I would say. So it is an interesting process. It is quite challenging, but yeah, make no mistake, kind of a Web 2 thing is not happening in Mitrium.
I would also add that we are quite skeptical for those people are saying that AAA in a blockchain. We believe that this space is going to be quite niche, and the cases for the blockchain games they are quite narrow. We have to realize and recognize that if you want to, of course, to build a healthy blockchain game, not just another Ponzi scheme. So yeah, I would say that we are striving to bring it to the broad audience, but still, if we overdo that, we can just find ourselves just as a Web2 game that should compete with other traditional games. But if we remain here in the Web3, then we compete with the Web3, and in the Web3, actually, we feel quite native. So yeah, that the thing that quite discussable and quite questionable. And I know the stories of many games that initially tried to be Web3, but then they tried to find the trade-off with a broad audience, and they died because they turned into Web2 and just didn't survive the competition with traditional games at all.
Yeah, those story was like also quite a lot recently, right? Like people don't like start lose the confidence of the Web3 and then change the original plan, like a traditional Web3 gamers, and then it becomes more competitive, as you mentioned. Yeah, I think there's something like when I read the white paper, I feel like something like quite stand out to me is that as Russell was mentioning about you also be also like a developer of the civilization and you play the civilization quite a lot. You mentioned about the diplomacy and also the gamers interaction. Like there's a like in as you write it down, it's like you have to choose who to be part of it, but also they are your enemy as well. You compete with the resources, and you join the forces to fight with each other. How do you come up with this idea, and also in what extent that the Ethereum was pushing comparing to the civilization or I mean the area of empire, those games like the strategy games. What's your thought process behind it, and also what extent you have been extended? Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say that Civilization is, we took from Civilization mostly emotional inspiration. But if we take the gameplay inspiration, I would say such games, such MMOs like EVE Online, like eRepublic, like O-Game, such kind of games, they are strategy games and they are MMOs. It means that these kind of the games, they are endless. So they are not sessioned like Civilization. And similar processes are actually happening there, like negotiating, diplomacy, spying, betraying, and all this stuff. So to be successful in such games, first of all, you have to do a lot of social interactions. You have to do analyzing and social and intellectual job. So that's what these kind of games like EVE Online, like eRepublic, like O-Game have in common. So mostly by such kind of the gameplay, we inspired by those games.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely some inspiration from that, and also I hope that you guys also kind of pushing the boundaries to make it more fun and also more interactive between the gamers as well. Yeah, I think my next question is about a fully on-chain games. So I feel I don't know. Nico is able to. Able to speak now, but I think both Skylab and the Ethereum were also focusing on the fully on-chain game. Like, why fully on-chain? And the like, is there any reason behind it? Also, what's the advantage for that?
Yeah, I'll take the word first, but I hope that someone will add and continue. So the broad understanding of why the fully on-chain game is actually people saying that composability. And initially, for the midterm, it also was the similar idea that we build the game on-chain because of composability effect, because it is in a smart contract environment, because the game logic is fully on-chain. It means that it is on built on smart contract, is transferable, and anyone can build their extension on top of it, same like in a DeFi. Maybe you heard, guys, about phenomenon of DeFi money Legos, like people are building the protocols on top of another protocol. So this is actually the thing that can bring the real metaverse. But for me, I would say that after 3 years of development and testing with a real audience and a real value in the game, I realized that number one, first of all, is actually the security, securing the progress of the player. Because if you secure the progress of the player, that means the player will commit more harder, commit by building, by his intellectual job, by finances, by creative job, by some research and many other things. So there is a class of the players that are actually very strongly involved in the worlds that are actually they are participating or playing or something like that. And if you secure their progress, they will commit hard and they will recognize the game quite serious. And the stakes are gonna be very, very high. Because same like with in comparison with the traditional finances and the blockchain finances, here in the blockchain in on-chain gaming, there are no regulators and there are no transaction costs. I mean, transaction cost is like the cost how to find the deal, how to make the trade, how to wrap it into the legal stuff, but you don't have it in a blockchain. So, and no regulators, no administrators, no developers that can actually change the rules and influence that gameplay. So people can be sure that they can commit very serious and they can be sure that their commitment, their progress, their assets gonna be fully secure.
Yeah, for
Does
sure.
someone
I
wants
think
to pick up?
yeah. Is a wrestler want to mention something?
Yeah, so in regards to the audience, I would say that yeah, it was quite an exploration, uh, and what we've came to a conclusion that yeah, there is definitely an audience who is following just the the potential gain in monetary kind of a value. There is also kind of an audience for which reputation is at stake, and they just want to be represented in certain kind of circles. There is also those who are just interested in concepts that we explore, and all those audiences they have different goals. They are following different kind of agendas. uh, I would hope that eventually, all of those would stay. But we are trying to balance it in a way so that everyone could enjoy the game despite having different goals. So, in the same way as Bogdan mentioned, Eve Online, uh, we kind of admire how they managed to have so many layers of different kind of activities for everyone. So somebody picks, you know, practically a job for himself in the outer space, and like takes it so serious that they are attending to it like within working hours and stuff. So we believe this is an area in which traditional gaming unfortunately explored too little. So there is not that many projects that did that, and the monetization that we are having is there to actually see how deep is the river, instead of seeing how wide it can be. So everyone is like looking, making clones of one another. We're taking a lot of experiments while building Dimitrium experiments, and we're exploring it in the other direction, I would say. So a lot of concepts, a lot of different kind of results, I would say, not similar to what an exploration in a traditional game would bring.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely, as you mentioned, about the blockchain can enable the players with their security of their assets, and also it's an open market for everyone who can easily transact. As you're developing a strategy game, it's like a civilization in Web3. It's definitely be enables so many functionality of like the asset transaction, and also like doing some business, like those things happening in the game. There's interaction in the game will be fully used by the blockchain, and also yeah, those things need to be secure. The loophole shouldn't be explored by the gamers, and it will keep the game balanced and also be secure. So that's something I found is quite reasonable, and I think yeah, you guys definitely head into the right direction. Um, Speaking of the game itself, like I found the first of all the graphic of the Ethereum is quite amazing. It's a very ritual, and also kind of reminds me of the Renaissance time, right? Like the fonts you guys using, the graphic, the whole design of it. It's quite amazing. Like, do you guys want to elaborate on that? Like, how do you guys do it, and what's the thought process behind it?
Yeah, so we searched for an inspiration for quite a while. Of where should we start initially? And I wanted to pursue something in terms of UI closer to Gothica aesthetics, but it showed itself being rather impractical. So, like, we have a lot of UI, and there is a lot of buttons. It's a blockchain project after all, So.
Mhm.
Um, because of that, I thought that we need something a bit more simplistic, and we moved towards Romanesque architecture.
Mhm.
So, where shapes are simpler. And after we had the UI concepts done, the rest of the game was just shaped around it. There was a lot of talks about how are we supposed to make it within the browser. we'll see how we made it like during the tournament. I do hope that people are going to be experiencing much less issues with the optimization that they previously had. So we are looking forward to supporting the mobile also during the tournament, hopefully. Um, so you can imagine there was a lot of buzz and issues and all that stuff to move, like imagine moving civilization to a mobile. It's
It's
um,
huge.
so yeah, yeah, we had a lot of kind of expectations about how it can be done. We are at the stage where we have all the design. We have started the development of the mobile, so it all fits well with the UI that the approach that we choose. We wanted the fonts, as you've mentioned them, to actually help to feel the immersion, I would say, of the game. So,
Yeah.
sort of, to create the experience of the era that we are exploring. We have changed the era so many times. Initially there was like prehistorical era, then we moved like to bronze age, then we moved to dark ages again. So like it's the time that we are covering now
Like in
is
Civilization,
yes, but
ages by
in,
ages.
yeah, in terms of 2D design and UI design, it was like pretty intense. Now we are pretty sure about what we are having now. I do feel like even if changes are to come, they would be rather minor. So the project is rather major now in comparison to what it used to be,
Mhm.
even like 9 months ago when we launched previous tournament. Was it 9 months? Maybe even less. But yeah, so that's in regards to the visuals. We added a lot of 3D stuff and scenes and all of that during this period. We tried to avoid the issues that users previously had. There was like a complex topic when uh, people want to have the performance, but at the same time they want to have everything on the same screen, accessible within a single
Yeah.
page.
Yeah.
So it turns out that the biggest effort is actually to have all the data that you are seeing updated
Mm.
simultaneously,
Yeah.
constantly. It's not the visuals, it's like all the information that people uh, actually used to see in the traditional blockchain dashboards.
Yeah.
Because like we have big portion of the audience that is used to it. And
Mm.
so yeah, sacrificing certain pieces of each aspect, we managed to do what we did, and we'll see how it performs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting thing to add what Ruslan said is that experienced players, they don't want to have the cool graphics at all. They want to see more tables, more information, more dashboards, and so on. But to hook to hook the newbie, to hook a new player, we need to show the cool graphics. And when he gets experienced player, then we need to show him the tables and the dashboards. So this is the interesting challenge that we face. But anyway, we want to break the stereotypes that on-chain games are actually the games with bad UI and UX. We want to fully break the stereotype and create a really nice looking game that is actually fully on-chain.
Nice. Yeah, I think as Ruslan was mentioning about it's really hard to do the backend part like really well in the blockchain game, right? Like the data you have to be updated instantly that we used to when you have the server, when you have the database. But in Web3, those data won't be able to refreshing instantly. So there's definitely some limitations building on the blockchain. But yeah, but as you guys mentioned, that there's some difficulties that you have to overcome, and you definitely thought about it before. So I think because the topic today is about the future of the gaming, I want to end the topics with this part. Is the when we talk about the future of the gaming experience, I also want to mention about the future of the game development, right? Like as long as we have the better tools, it means that we can develop something groundbreaking. Groundbreaking. So, I mean, you guys definitely a veteran of the game development. You have developed like a Web2 games before, and now you are entering the Web3 space. And throughout these years, we also like see the AI emerged, and also like some tools that some like the Unreal Engine 5. There are so many development tools that pop up. What do you guys see, and throughout your experience, what do you have been like? What do you guys have been like try or have a great tools that you want to mention about?
Um,
Yeah, go ahead, Bogdan. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, well, the first and the main tool for us is of course actually the blockchain, because for we see as the one of the main innovations in the gaming is that when you have the game on a blockchain, when you have it on chain and you have it serious by the reasons that I mentioned before, you can actually experiment very hard with the game design, and you can create such mechanisms that can actually be unseen in traditional gaming. Because in traditional gaming is more for the process, not for the result. But here in on-chain space, many people are come to get the result from the game. Some people come to get fun, some people come to get money, some people come to make glory, to make reputation, and because of that you can create very, very deep and interesting systems. So for me personally, is that how I see the innovations, because for me, like, traditional gaming is actually it right now in stagnation of innovations. Maybe AI can change those things. We still don't know. I really want to see the AI used as a computer player that can create a real big challenge, especially for strategy games. But still, I'm not sure how close we to that. But I personally for PvP, for the games player versus player, and the blockchain is actually a great environment for that.
Yeah, so to add on top of what Bogdan said, there is a lot of enthusiasm now running around the AI. I would like to remind to everyone who's exploring in that area that if you are creating, let's say, challenges through the usage of AI, another AI or maybe the same one can solve it. Which is like if you are making a game, yeah, which is monetary, kind of connected as much as any blockchain project can be. Um, it's not gonna be a good ride, I would expect. And as I've mentioned at the start, the game design now takes a much bigger part in our development than it initially was, because we figured that because of the, I would say sometimes even simplicity of Web3 project in comparison to certain Web3 projects that are hiding themselves behind Unreal Engine or something like that, creating an automatization or a bot or something that performs better than a human being is quite simple. So the challenges in game design have to rely on something else but quick reaction, or just being there in the right time or stuff like that. So it's quite challenging, and I don't think that it will affect the aspect of the game design all that much. Game design as in game economy. However, shout out to Midjourney. They helped us a lot. Like we are using it constantly to develop some sketches. It definitely still messes up a lot of things, and 2D artists are struggling sometimes, to finish up the final touches of what Midjourney brings initially. But it gets better, and uh, it makes, in my opinion, what Google did for the information. It made it cheap. So now AI makes the art cheap, accessible. Everyone is able to make something good looking, something interesting. And I do believe that we are to see more projects that they use AI generated kind of even cut scenes. Obviously, 2D arts are already there. I do hope that we at some point going to be seeing less human-made remasters of the game and more AI-made remasters, because this seems like a task AI could handle. And eventually, maybe somebody will make a copy of Ethereum through AI. That would be pretty neat. We'll see.
Yeah, those are very. I can't agree more on that. Like you mentioned about the Google makes the information cheap, and now Midjourney makes the art cheap. Yeah, especially for game development, sometimes the cost of designing the scene, design of a transition, it spends lots of money, and also you can't see beforehand, like when you put in efforts into it. But now, because of the AI, because of the many great tools that the artist can kind of give the feel of what's going to happen in the future, and then showcasing it before they put in efforts to make so much effort into the details, right? So that's definitely a game changer, and also for the game developments, it's a release. It's also kind of saving a lot of energy and money. Yeah, so I think we are almost reaching the end of the show. We talked about the autonomous, and we talk about the blockchain. We also talk about the development of the gaming tools. I want to end the show with this. We will provide the stage to you guys. Like any shout out that you want to make, or anything that you want to make a last statement, or reminds the gamers about. Now is a good time. Button and Ruslan, if you want to, you can do it now.
Yeah. So it was the first event organized by 1KX in Lisbon, called Autonomous Anonymous. Sorry to say that it's organized by 1KX, because of anonymous part probably in there means that I shouldn't have said that. But however, it was amazing. We met a lot of nice people. People are exploring in the same area that we've been exploring for a while now. It is nice not to feel insane, crazy kind of, because at some point we thought that it was like a year in between even test phases. And we were just sitting there, having only ourselves to experience what we've built. And at some point we were like, kind of afraid whether or not we've been moving this entire year in the right direction. We got a good feedback, and it boosted our morale. But now that there are more teams building, I would like to mention to anyone who's building in the same space that please contact us. We'll be happy to share the knowledge that we've managed to gather through the years. I would like to see more projects building something that can be used in between games. So we are now exploring the concept of frontier worlds. Botan give it a name, and I do like the name of it. So that some kind of game that can allow different kind of projects to be using it for its own purposes. I do believe if somebody builds something like that, this would be a very promising to the industry that is yet to develop itself. So yeah, if you're thinking what to build, go ahead. Like we're just so busy right now that we ourselves are not risking starting it. But yeah, I do believe it is one of the core things that will take a huge part in development of the entire industry of autonomous worlds. Yeah, Bogdan, would you like to add something?
I will add just a very brief hint for those who want to try out the Ethereum, to try their skills and intellect on a battlefield. Trade with raiders and raid the traders. That's all that I wanted to say.
Yeah, for sure. And also remember, everyone, you can join the tournament of Ethereum. They are providing 25K reward pool starting at the end of July. I think it's July 25. There's more information updated in their Discord. So join the Discord and be part of it, and also watch out for the new tournament started. It's gonna be Iron Age first or INH1 tournament. So join the tournament and experience the game with your own eyes, and you will find the and also understand more about our conversation now. And last but not least, I have to mention Skylab. Sorry, Nico wasn't able to join the conversation. She might be listening the whole show with us, but unable to join the conversation. We will try to fix the technical part later. But still, guys, you can follow Skylab on Twitter. Skylab on Twitter, and they have like quite interesting blogs, and I learned a lot from their blogs about the PvP strategy games, and also about the economic zones rather than building up the theme parks in the blockchain. I think that's something I haven't heard before, and it's quite amazing. And they also mentioned about running a game without open-minded, open-sourced, rather than run on the Amazon server. They want to everyone build their front ends, fork and mod and extend the game logic. Those things are quite unique. I hope that I can have a great conversation with Nico, but we're gonna arrange it next time. But so that sums up today's panel. Feel free to follow us on Twitter and also join us on Discord server. And also, because we are running the Web3 Summer Game Fest till July 6th, so feel free to join to visit us on CARV.io to find more information about it. And there will be a huge prize pool for you to share. So stay tuned for that and join our activities later. Every day we're gonna have a
See you on the
event.
battlefield, guys.
Sorry?
See you on the battlefield, I see.
Yeah, I see. I see with a real battlefield. Like that's something we're gonna. It's rarely to see in the in the world. Nice. Is it real? Like you can fight with the sword? Is a
Ooh,
is a
you,
sharp
you,
sword?
you can come and we can check.
Is it for protection or for the decoration?
Well, it is not sharp, so
Okay, sure. Where did you get it, Buddha?
it was a present for the birthday.
Ah, I see. I see. Nice. That's some medieval like treasure. It's
Classical. It is
classical.
Gladius.
Yeah, yeah. That's really nice, and I can feel like it's quite heavy, isn't it?
No, not really.
No, really. Okay, for a strong dude like you. Yeah, yeah. I think for the Twitter space, audiences, you might wonder what we are discussing. Actually, Buddha is showcasing his sword and shield. It's a real sword and shield. So they are developing a real game, and also they have a real weapons. Yeah. So I think that's about it. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and thank you, Buddha and Ruslan, to join our show. And thank you
Thank
all
you.
the audience out there. Stay tuned for our more events, and yeah, thank you so much. Bye, everyone.